stop eating for a minute.
All right, it's recording.
No. You tried.
Now that all of us old guys have had heart attacks. I'm gonna put that. I don't have to worry about you accidentally. And that accidentally is with quotation marks.
I can hear everybody.
That was a good way to get us all warmed up. Should have got one more. Like,
You mean there's more?
like alive. No. If there was more, I would be dead. Stop. Do not touch the camera. All right. Whew. Thank you guys for coming today. Before we do anything else, I want to just take a few minutes to tell this young lady how proud I am of her. You are, and you have been, an amazing daughter. And every time I turn around, you have surprised me even more. This little girl has been an odds defier from the day she was conceived. She, some of y'all in here know the story, some of y'all don't. When Serenity was only about, 8 weeks, 12 weeks in the womb? Not very far along.
I thought it was like 6.
She was at the stage where you could see her on the sonogram, and you could see she looked like a little bean. She looked like a little bean. And Sansaray and I were doing something. I don't remember what we were doing. And suddenly Sansaray started just gushing blood. And we rushed her to Angleton Danbury hospital along with her precious cargo. And the doctor examined Sansaray and basically told us that Serenity was going to self-abort. She was going to miscarry, and that she was not going to make it to term. And the doctor told us that he was convinced that was going to happen that night, and that he was very worried about Sansaray, dying from blood loss. And he wanted her to stay at the hospital. But he looked at me just like this, and he said, but don't make, he said, how did he put it? He said, don't think I'm having you stay for the baby. He said, the baby's gone. I'm having you stay for Sansaray. Something to that effect. I just remember his waggling little finger at me. And he wanted us, he even suggested that we abort Serenity so that we could go ahead and get it over with instead of letting Sansaray just bleed all night or whatever. Well, we of course rejected that. We called the church prayer line, and we all started praying. And I had the little fetal monitor thing taped to Sansaray's belly, and so there was like a play-by-play right above the bed that we could all watch. And we could see the blood flow was so strong that it was making that little bean who was Serenity shake, just quiver in that blood flow, because everything was so tumultuous in there, I guess, so messed up. And I remember I got on the phone with one of the church members. I think it was Earl, but I can't remember. And he said, we're praying right now. We started praying, and as we're praying, I just watched it just went like this, and it just stopped. And I saw that little being just sitting there, serene, if you will, and peaceful. And yeah, there you go. And so I was sitting there and I was like, I think everything's going to be okay. And I remember our doctor, Dr. Parker, right, came in the next morning, early the next morning, and he looked at it and he goes, she's fine. The baby's fine.
There's a viable baby.
He said, that's a viable baby. He's like, he told me there's nothing wrong. And, well, a couple of trimesters later, there you were. Serenity's birth was not without problems either, though. Sansaray went into labor. Sansaray went into labor while we were at El Chico. And Sansaray, if you've never been to El Chico on your birthday, the El Chico people make you stand on the chair and do a little hat dance thing. Well, you can just imagine Sansaray was about, I'm a hot tamale, that's what the song is, but it's her belly's sticking out like this. I mean, you could have sat Cokes on it. I mean, walk down the street. It was big and round, and she's up there singing I'm a hot tamale. And I don't remember exactly what she told me, but it was something along the lines of, I think I'm having a baby. We need to go to the hospital. So she literally shook you out of her. So she goes into labor, and we're all at the hospital, and I'm sitting there. I don't know, guys, if you have ever went through this experience with your wife or not, but they give you this little chair so you can stay in the room with her. And it's supposed to be a chair that folds out into a bed, but it's more like if the Keebler elves had a recliner. That's kind of what it was like. And so I'm sitting there in that little wannabe fold-down bed thing, and I'm trying to go to sleep because I'm exhausted. It's like 2 a.m. And they give Sansaray just enough medicine to put her to sleep for like 30 minutes. And then I would fall asleep, and I'd start going to sleep, and next thing I know, baby, go get the nurse. And so every 30 minutes, I'm going to get the nurse.
Don't let him tell you that, because I was screaming and he would not wake up.
That is a lie. Anyway, so the nurse missed her window for her epidural. So Sansaray had Serenity, other than some, just some like aspirin type stuff, she pretty much had her naturally. And while she was sitting there, when Serenity finally decided to come, Serenity is still like this today. she waited forever and like puttered around and wouldn't come. And then when she finally came, it's like, I'm coming right now. I'm not going to wait on you. Bam. And she was just right there. So our doctor did not have time to get to the hospital.
It wasn't our doctor. Let's keep that.
Yeah, Dr. Cook, who is now disbarred, I believe.
Yeah, he lost his license.
Lots of medical license. He was on the way, but the nurse was there. And literally, I was sitting there, and the nurse was like, don't push, because I guess she wanted to wait for the doctor to get there.
Yep.
And then the next thing I know, I see Serenity's head coming out, all the way up to the nose area. And the nurse went, and shoved her back in. And I literally looked at the nurse and said, you can't put her back. And the nurse was like, we have to wait for the doctor. Well, I mean, I'm just sitting there staring at this nurse because I can see her with her hand on the top of Serenity's head, holding her inside my wife. And I'm going, that cannot
I
be.
did not have any drugs.
Yeah, I'm like, that cannot be good. Well, thankfully, just a couple minutes later, Dr. Cook comes running in, and he's like, all right, let me have her. And there was no pushing. It was like, I'm already out, pretty much. And she just went, whoop. And so there you were. And I fell in love with you from the moment I saw your pretty little face. She looked at me for that first time when she came out with this hint of sarcasm. And I thought,
Hold on. Human infants don't even open their eyes until like what?
Yeah, they do.
yeah, they do.
They're not
Sure they do.
They can't see all the way.
Yeah, they usually can't see very far because your eyes are all smushed up and your vision's messed up.
Are
But,
you
hey,
sure she should be graduating high school?
hey,
I didn't like kitchen science. That's all.
so you can't interrupt my story anymore. Okay, no, you already messed up my flow. So then I'm telling you, this is the life of Serenity, and you're just going to have to put up with this. So then. So then about a year later, she's learning how to walk, and I had made the mistake as we were weaning her off the bottle and starting to give her some solid food. I had made the mistake. I've always loved Bucky's tea. And so I would take my straw while I was holding her. I'd say, you want some tea? And I'd take the straw and give her a little drink of the tea. And she of course loved the tea. So within a week or so of me doing that, when she saw that tea, she would start grabbing for the straw. So she would, hi y'all, come on in. So she would grab for the straw. There's food over here and there's snacks and stuff. So she would grab for the straw. And I thought nothing of it. I was like, of course she likes my Bucky's tea. Until she started taking her first steps. And I learned that I had to put my tea on the high shelf. I'm sitting there one day with my brand new glass of Bucky's tea, and here comes Serenity with nothing on but a diaper, and she comes toddling up, as toddlers do. And she looked at me and smiled, and she looked down at my tea and went, and off she ran, sucking on the straw with all that she was worth. And from that day forward, she was stealing my tea. And if you look at any of our old family videos, we just saw one, we were just watching one the other day. You didn't get to watch it, but me and the kids were watching one the other day. My tea is always up somewhere high. You'll always see these Bucky's glasses up on top of the entertainment center or something.
I was a thief for tea.
Because anytime I left it low, she would grab it. She was also a free spirit, like her mom. We had
And then I got bit.
That's true. But she was a free spirit like her mom. We have video of her dancing naked in the mud puddles, and for all that she's worth, her and her brother both. I think her mom did that to you, but there was
raining. There was a big mud puddle. It was time to play.
It's okay. I don't care. Anyway. And then I knew a few years ago, I don't know how many years, it might have been one, it might have been four. I walked in and my daughter was on the internet. And I said, what are you doing? And she said, I'm arguing. I think she said debating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was like 9 years old. I
Yeah.
was on live chess.com.